Welcome to Living Local with Lori.
Hi, I'm Lori Johanneson. I'm a top performing realtor in Naperville and the surrounding suburbs. My goal is to connect my friends, my family, and my clients with other local area professionals. Today, I'm very lucky to be sitting on a Zoom call with Jeremy Meek. Jeremy has been one of my preferred home inspectors for, gosh, I don't even know how many years now, but he is for sure one of my go-tos. A lot of my clients are really happy with the results that they have as a result of having an inspection and feel comfortable moving into the house after it's been done. There's been times where people haven't actually felt comfortable moving in after the home inspection's been done. And, that's okay too. There's no such thing as a perfect house. Um, but it is important to have a really good home inspection. So, first I'd like to start off and explain, not all home inspectors are the same. Everybody has a different sort of background, whether they're an electrician or a plumber or, maybe a handyman. And now this seemed like a really fun, easy job to do, which, I know from watching you, Jeremy, it doesn't look easy. There's so many things I would never, ever want to do, like crawl in crawl spaces and attics, especially on a super hot day. If you could, tell us a little bit about yourself, your business, and why you're different and what your background is.
Sure. Well, Jeremy from Discovery Inspection Services. We're a full service home inspection company in the southwest suburbs of Chicago, specifically out in Oswego, Plainfield, Naperville, that area. We service a good portion of this area, north about Elgin, south down to, we've gone as far as Ottawa, into Elmhurst, even into the city once in a while, and then quite a ways west as well. So my background is I was in land development and construction for 12 years before this, working with private developers, municipalities to do work that included anything from annexing raw land into a city, rezoning, design, implementation of projects, commercial and residential, anything from an acre to all the way up to 1,000+ acres of development. Downturn came and development kind of fizzled. Financing and funding for municipal projects and things like that started to kind of go away back in 2008, 9. And so I looked at a transition to home inspection. It was something that I hadn't put much thought into. My wife mentioned it, and I looked into it. And growing up, every house that I remember living in, we bought not the nicest house in the nicest subdivision we could. And my parents and us worked on that house until it was ready, and sold that house and moved on. So I've got that in my background as well. So, the transition to home inspection wasn't such a stretch. And it was something that once I got involved doing it, I realized, I really liked working for myself, and I felt like I had a little bit of an aptitude for it. So I stuck with it. And now we're coming up on 10 years, and it's been a good fit for me. What other questions do we have? Sorry.
No, that's great. So your background is all encompassing. It wasn't, super specific on one trade, which I, really like, because again, we need to understand the whole house, not just one area of expertise that somebody's going to get really excited about. So
Yeah.
that's great.
Well, I'd add that there's good home inspectors that come from all walks of life. I mean, there's guys that come from banking or whatever places you would not expect them to be able to come and do home inspection. And then there's guys from the trades that come and do it. It's really all about how consistent you're staying with your current education, staying up on. I mean, there's code changes every few years. There's industry standards that change. There's standards of practice that we have to keep up with. So having a construction background doesn't necessarily make you a good or bad home inspector, just like anything else. I mean, there's very few that I know second generation home inspectors or guys that grew up saying, that's what I want to do. I want to be a home inspector. Most of them came from another industry or career. But yeah, I mean, I appreciate that. I feel like my background kind of led into this just fine. But again, it's just like going to college for a specific major. You go there, you get educated, and then you start in the real world and realize you know nothing. It was enough to get you in the first job, and then you really grow from there. And how you grow is up to you. So um,
Excellent. So, I've been to a lot of home inspections. Obviously, you've been to even more than I have. And I tend to generally see a trend of things that I'm like, gosh, I really wish the homeowner would have like paid more attention to this. It surely would make the inspection process a lot more smooth. So, what tips do you have for people who are thinking of putting their home on the market, or just general homeowners that you wish that they paid a little bit more attention to, so it wouldn't create such a crazy list when it came time for the home inspection?
well, I mean, everybody that lives in their houses realizes there are things that you may have learned or know about over the years that somebody walking in is probably going to have questions about or not understand. So, I mean, within reason, disclosing things like that are great. Um, but we also run into things that are sometimes a really easy answer that turn into questions when we walk in, and half the light bulbs are out. Is it an electrical problem, or is it just light bulbs? Just change the light bulbs. Make sure they all work. Make sure your smoke detectors have been replaced. Make sure your HVAC systems have been serviced. It's great when there's a service tag available that says, hey, somebody was out here within the last year. It just reduces the number of questions through the home inspection process. We don't have a crystal ball. We can't see in the future, and we can't tell what happened in the past if there's not some sort of record. So, to the best of your ability, preparing for questions like that come up. Think about what you would wonder in a house that you're buying, and try to be proactive with some of that in your own home. There's also the option, if you want to go down the road of having a pre-listing inspection, you can hire an inspector like us or whoever, to go through the house and give you a heads up on a lot of the issues. Um, a lot of the stuff that comes up in every home inspection. So some people worry that, oh my gosh, they're going to just, we're going to have this long list of stuff we have to fix. But in reality, you're really just worried about the big ticket items, the items that might scare people. An outlet that doesn't work, or a fixture that doesn't work, or whatever. I mean, stuff like that comes up. It's not that big a deal. But if you've got, a foundation issue, or your attic's full of mold, or whatever, it's nice to know that ahead of time, so you're not scrambling last minute to try to find a contractor to come out, knock it out. It's just nice to be able to take your time, pick through the issues, pick your contractors, and take care of these issues before they come up. It just makes your transactions a lot smoother.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I always strongly encourage all my sellers to do a pre-list inspection, something they pay for and look at. I don't really want to ever know what is in it, but they are required to disclose any major material defects. I feel like we find all the time loose toilets, GFIs, broken windowsills,
Right.
mold in the attic, which is a result of improper ventilation, which never really was a big issue before, but pretty consistently. Um, you know, you and I were just at a home inspection where the seller stayed. That is definitely not what a seller should do. During a buyer's home inspection, they should leave. And the fact that they were telling us that, hey, I'm going to find a lot of things wrong with this house, it makes you question
Right.
what was really done to the house. So, yeah, if you're a seller out there listening and you don't understand why you shouldn't be at your own home inspection yet, you should leave. Let the buyer be there. They're paying for it.
Right.
Let them find stuff. Don't make you look any harder than you have to find things that are wrong with a home.
Yeah.
Um,
It's a real mix too. With COVID, there's a lot of concern with more people in the house, which doesn't bother me so much, but it can be awkward from that standpoint. And then, I know it's tough now. Where are you going to take everybody for 3 hours? But the more confusion there is in the house during the home inspection, with the kids and the pets and all the owners and everybody, it does make it a tough process. It can take longer. And if you've got it, if you tend to have loose lips, sometimes you're disclosing things that you don't necessarily need to.
right.
So
Which I'd like to lead into, and I don't know if you're comfortable or what kind of story you would like to share with us, but like the worst thing you've ever seen in a house where you're like, oh my gosh, I would never buy this house. Maybe they buy it, maybe they don't. If you have, a fun story that you'd like to share with us, I would love to hear it.
sure. Well, there's, we see I guess one thing for everybody to know is we don't advise buying or selling a house. I mean, or if you should buy the house or not. It's not really our place. We're there to assess the current conditions, let you know as much information as we can before you make that final decision. And ultimately, it's up to you, and we will present it that way. Sometimes you'll see the writing on the wall, right? There's a lot of issues, and a lot of them are serious, and then that's something you have to make your own decision on. But yeah, it is crazy what we see. I mean, sometimes there's houses that I just can't believe anybody's currently living in or why anybody would buy them. But again, that's not my place. We just report it. One crazy thing, I mean, we've got a lot of stories, I guess, about stuff that we see. Some of it's appropriate for the internet and some is not. But one story that comes to mind is in Naperville. We were doing I mean, this was a while back, it's probably at least 5 years ago. We were doing an inspection on a house that had been taken over by the bank. I can't remember the type of loan, like a home improvement loan of some kind, where they had come in and they recarpeted and they painted, and it was a nice enough looking house. And inspection was going pretty well. And most of the time, I save the attic for last, just because a lot of times it's kind of a messy job. Anyway, putting my ladder up, get up in the attic, start taking a look around once I get the hatch cover open, and I notice right by the entrance of the attic, it's like a garbage bag. It's clear. It's more like a shopping bag. It's clear, and it's just left there, which was kind of random. I pick it up and look at it, and I notice that inside there's a lot of like white crystalline material. I'd never seen it before. To me, it kind of looked like the consistency of mothballs, but it was flat, and it was all broken up into pieces, and each of those pieces was individually wrapped in cellophane. So once I saw that, I thought, man, this is probably drugs. And the agent I was with, I said, hey, come check this out. What do you think this stuff is? And he was curious about it and took a little deeper dive than I did. He didn't do anything with it, but he took a closer look than I would have. And he agreed that we should probably call the police. So we had the police out and found out that it was a big bag of crack cocaine.
Nice.
Left there by the previous owner who unfortunately had passed away with issues directly related to this. So they were saying it was about a $30,000 street value of crack cocaine in what turns out to be a doctor's house. So anyway.
Oh, wow. I was worried when you went up to the attic, you're going to see like dead bodies. So, I mean, not that drugs are okay, but
we've seen dead bodies, but no human.
What's that?
We've seen dead bodies, but no humans, luckily. I do know inspectors who've encountered dead bodies, though. It does happen. But luckily, thankfully, hopefully never have I encountered such a thing.
And, me neither. I've walked in on people. I've seen a lot, but yeah, no dead bodies. So that's great. So that was where I thought your story was going. Not that, again, drugs are okay, but I'm
Sorry.
sure
Wasn't that exciting?
Yeah, no. This is all super helpful. I think everybody else is going to see that it's super helpful as well. Again, Jeremy's one of my top picks whenever a buyer asks for a recommendation on a home inspector, because I know you're going to be very thorough. You're going to provide a report with pictures and all levels of detail. You stand behind your inspections, which is super important. Follow up if a buyer has any questions, which I also really appreciate as well. There is no such thing as a perfect house, even new construction, which you actually came into my house after we renovated and did an inspection, found things that are wrong. So even if you're buying new construction, it's still always a good idea to have somebody else come in. It doesn't matter how many permits were done and how great the builder is. Nobody's perfect. We don't even expect a house to ever be perfect. We just want to know what is wrong. What do we need to look out for? What do we need to continue to work through? So thank you again, Jeremy. I appreciate your time. I know the market is super busy right now. I'm excited to see you at a few more home inspections coming up soon. So thank you again.
Thank you.
Also, remember to follow us on Instagram at Johanneson Home.